under Mary's floor. We went upstairs and a couple of out. And I don't know what they did. They sucked out there. They won't kill anything around here. They get to suck out all the bees, bring them somewhere else, clean it all out under Mary's floor in that bedroom with all the stuffed animals, and then put a new piece of wood on. Because if you look at the wood, there's one new piece straight across. Well, no, then there's 2 streets, sand benches, there's a few, and that would have been where the floor was. But they've been replacing some wood as they need to, because it's rots, stuff like that so long. And then they always paint it every couple of years. What else did they do? Always had to buy these heavy grates.
Why did they paint that room?
Yeah. Oh, God. That room was that room from 75. And then nobody knows. There's no record of who stayed. Well, no record anybody wants to give up. 75 to like 85. When the owners rented it out, and people would come and go. Families would come in. Oh, this is so wonderful. And then when shit hits the fan, they just run. And so it's probably about 10 renters right in there in that period of time. And there's no record of them really. So would have had they would have taken the wall down if they didn't use that room after 75. But that was a pretty cool thing. You can always remove stuff, change things around in the bathroom right here, and then put a closet in there. You can put a closet in Mary's room that would stick out into Clara's room. It's just how you work with what you have. You can always make it better than what it is. You're not stuck with the design as it is. You can always fix it. I think that the bathrooms down here, they were the pantry. And that bedroom, Laura's bedroom, was the bathroom. Yeah, up there. That's what I had heard. Years and years ago. But they probably didn't need the pantry because they had this room here that was probably a pantry. See, there used to be a window there, that locked room. He's got all the computer stuff in there. This and that, for, the internet. And that's why that's locked. DVRs and computers and this and that for the stuff. And then ghost hunting equipment. That's all that shit's a lot of money. So, they do hand that out during an investigation. Everyone will be able to pick what they want to try to use. These people have never used a stupid piece of equipment before, and you're handing them out, and they don't even know what to buy. But, all that crap is hidden in here. But that used to be a window. That out. That's a window. Under that fan, during the day, there's cracks in the wood. They covered that up to keep where coolers are. They covered up the basement windows because people were going in through there. So it's had a lot of, oh my God. Well then, let's see, after about 82 or 85, then this old couple bought it until, I don't know, if it was still like 92, about 10 years, maybe it was till 95 they lived here. So he was more deaf than she was. And they just loved the place. They were big business rent, because you have to buy the place for exit. Out here, this land that's around here, they don't really sell you. They don't really sell you the land. They just sell you the house, and they keep the land. Then the house is, if you pay it off, it's yours. But if you die or miss your payment or whatever, the house goes right back to the owner. Yeah. So the old people who bought the house, and they think it's the land, but it's not. It's the owners. They have this stipulation in the paperwork that they own the land. Then self-oil or something was found on the land, then they get that money, not the people who bought it. Anyway, so if you miss a payment or something, it goes right back to the people. It doesn't go to a bank or something. Last name is Reese, Reiss or something. They own a lot of properties that way, and then that's how they make their money, because people are like paying. If you ask me, they're paying rent. And if they can make it to the end, they own the house. But if they don't make it, right back to the owner, and they start over. Who's next? Yeah, a little scam going on here. Well, the old couple that was here was never going to get paid off. The way I see it is that they were paying rent for the last 10 years of their life. Because, the house loans, I don't know how much they paid, of course, I don't have all that. But house loans are generally 30 years, and then you can get. So when I took out the loan on the house that I live in now, I don't know what I was, like 40. I'm not going to live till 70, so I'm not. In my lifetime, it won't get paid off. So the life insurance, that's where your life insurance comes into play, and then whoever gets the life insurance can pay out the house, and then the house bill goes away, and then they own it, like Marty. That's who I have it. Yeah, whoever you have it will to or whatever. But yeah, like this case, it's Marty. So if I croak, then he'll get the life insurance policy, which is way more than what the house is still owed on it, and then he can pay that off, and then not have to pay his monthly bill to the bank, and then it'll get paid off. So the two old people over here, they were just paying rent, even though it was toward the purchase. The way I see it, they're just paying rent because they're never going to live 30 years when they're already 80. Maybe they'll live to 110, but I really just doubt it. And he got pushed down the stairs all the time. Of course, everybody says he was drunk all the time. The ambulance was always here.
Really?
Yeah, getting called because he fell down. Those stairs are horrible. That owner fixed that. Doesn't have a furnace anymore. After the old people died, the house sat empty for, 10 years. And kids came through and ransacked it, took out all the electrical wiring, busted it up, and oh my God, it was just a fucking wreck. And then all ended up moving back to Arizona. Him and his lady friend, I can't remember what his name is, down here. She has something that not in this town, I think it's in Olean. She liked the house or has a connection to it too, and she called him one night. We have to get out there. And it's a weeknight, and Paul's like, I ain't fucking going out there this time of night. And it's still a gravel road, and oh my God. And she knew something was up, and all the windows were taken out, all the furnace pipes were taken out, everything's laying around. They call the cops, and the cop comes out and says, they're not ransacking the house, this is pre-demolition. Tomorrow or the next day, they're probably going to bring a bulldozer. And, so Paul and his lady friend contacted the owner and said, how much do you want to buy the house? In other words, to stop from the bulldozer from coming in. And they got it stopped long enough, and then it just so happened to be that Dan found out about it. He didn't know these people at all, but he was he grew up in a house that had shit going on, and he was in Buffalo Paranormal Society. That's north of here, about an hour. Where the father worked up that way at a Ford plant at night. And Dan found out about it and went here. And he already had a house payment for him and his family up in Buffalo. The expensive house. And he knew he was crazy because how can you afford your house payment? Especially when you go to the bank and you have no fucking plans to rent it. You have nothing. You have no more income, and you want to take on this extra house bill. But I think it was low enough, and he got the loan and ended up saving the house. And then membership. But anyway, yeah, that's the membership stuff. You pay, I don't know. I think there's one thing where you can pay $1 a month, and probably another thing you pay $100, and it goes toward all the renovations, and they have to be blah blah electric, you know. And then they rent it out to groups during the week that someone will give the tours, and then they also rent it out for people overnight. Again, there's only does the overnight with people that we trust. You know, you never know what kind of people are going to come in. And Dan met me through Paul. Because I met Paul, I had originally found out about paranormal about, maybe in 2015 or so, and I saw something online. We always watched it. It was a live stream thing. Nights and weekends, it'd be a live stream, maybe, you know, like 2 nights a week. One of them I did that Wednesday. And I'm like, okay, so, you know, I was watching it. Then I met people and stuff. And then in one of the night streams, Paul got on it. I had already found out what books were written on the place through the live, you know. So I found out about those 2 books, and I read them. Oh my God! It blows the other Amityville. I mean, I don't know. There was a lot of people killed in it that they know of, but this place is. Oh my God, there's years and years and years of people being tormented that many people witness. It's not just some woman Claire who claims it happened. This so many, and nobody wants to ever talk about it because it's so, they just think it's going to start happening to them again wherever they live. You know, they don't want to think about it, they don't want to talk about it, they don't want anything to, you know. They don't want to remember what they went through, you know, as a visitor here or as somebody who lives here. Anyway, yeah, those memberships, so I have to be Paul was in the chat one night, and I remember saying, okay, that book, I read it like 6 times by then, and I'm like, okay. And I look over, and I'm like, no fucking way. Clara didn't go on those things. I didn't know she was alive. I didn't know. And then I'm like, that sounds familiar. So I listened to it, sure enough, it was his name. I'm like, isn't somebody that is of importance with this house, is it? Because nobody else was here in the 70s. Yeah. Went through the horror, was here at the exorcism in the 70s. Apparently, it was not an exorcism. It's what 1920. It's in the church archives in St. Bonaventure. That's where they went. They didn't go to any of the little churches in town. They went to the church with the college church. Anyway, they're more apt to have resources in Malice than in top churches. Anyway, so I think this is Paul was there in the 70s, or some kind of I called it cornball chat that I opened the line with, and I'll be damned if he didn't respond, and that's how I met him. And then I was like, I didn't even know they rented out the house. I didn't know if the house was even still standing. When I was, well, no, I did know because it was on the live stream. But I mean, I didn't know they rented it out because they didn't advertise that on the live stream. Like on Saturday nights, I might watch till 3 in the morning, Sunday morning, because it was an 8-hour stream. That's where I watched it a lot. And I've got a lot of friends who do that paranormal group. Not thousands of people, but you end up only being friends with a couple of them after the fact. Then they stopped that stream because Facebook started charging or something, so stopped doing that. But anyway, that's how I met and introduced to Dan, and then through Paul. And so I'd come up here, and of course Dan wants to meet who it is that Paul's talking about that Dan is supposed to trust for an overnight. So I think he came down and talked to us for a little while, felt confident, and went home. And then I came back a few times. But sometimes when you hear absolutely nothing happens, and that's what Claire said in the book, you can go for a week or 3, and there'll be nothing, and then all hell breaks loose. So it's just, just the luck of the draw or whatever. But when it's bad, I mean, it's oh my God, it's mentally horrifying.
I feel like it has to have a certain amount of energy for things to happen.
Yeah, and these entities like younger people, and I think that's why the older couple didn't have much going on, because they can't seem to get the energy they need from older people. Mm-hmm. But they allegedly can from younger people. And Clara had 4 kids. And one of the girls was, well, 2 of the girls were badly affected. The boy was a little bit, he was the oldest. But Mary, she was the youngest. I don't know, she was 7, 8, right in that age. Probably 4. So 8 years old. That one wasn't affected so much. It was 12-year-old. And I started being 14 or 15, and then when they moved out, he was probably 19 after high school. We went on the service, went down to the bus stop, and they take you to another town, and then you get on another bus, and then you give your life to the service. You got out of here right away. Then one of the daughters went to California and got married to Tim, Paul's buddy, because he was something. Oh, he was in the service too. I think and they're still together today. Mm-hmm. I think that's the oldest one, but she was 2 years younger than Mike at the time. And then Laura was the one that was affected the most by the house. They were swimming in the pond, and another girl and her were swimming. I don't know. A neighbor girl lived up on a hill or something. I don't know. They come over. They're swimming in the pond. The pond it wasn't like this at all. It was all sandy edges. You know, the water was clear. You know, it was much different. Now it's all grown up. There's weeds, debris, and shit in there. Anyway, so when Laura's in the pond, you know, they're talking about what are they gonna do when they get older. They're both young. And Laura says, "Oh, I don't need to do anything. I've seen everything in life anyway. I'm gonna die young." And the girl that was with her said her eyes looked like cat eyes when she was talking to her. And they were both, you know, neck deep in the water, bobbing up and down. And she said her eyes looked like cat eyes. 1 to 3 ladies that would, I guess, be prancing around on that side and dancing around on that side. I thought it was just special. That's sinister. All that side of the pond. Then that road that you can travel if you go straight up instead of turning, that was what Clara called the Camp Road. They would always hear Gregorian chants and stuff up there, but it was a horrifying feeling to go up there, which I find interesting because Gregorian chants is churchy stuff, but it was like mimicking Gregorian chants, and then it would turn like an evil. Because Gregorian chants is, I first thought it was real spooky sounding, but it's supposed to be churchy stuff. And if you ever have a problem at your house, you're supposed to play Gregorian chant. You can play it real low volume. The ghosts don't like it, so then they supposedly won't bother you. But because you gotta, I mean, the stage and all that crap. I don't know. Everything's a rumor. I don't know. What do you think? You know, I don't know. That's what I heard. I never heard
it. It's more so for you, not.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and then they say pour salt around the house or some shit. You know, I'm like, oh brother.
You can like pouring salt in water and then putting it in the water. That's more effective.
Well, what does that do?
It's more for protection.
Well, you know, I don't think I don't think they had all that crap in the 70s. But they didn't do the exorcism right. You really can't exorcise a house anyway. You can only really exorcise people. So it should be called a cleansing, not an exorcism. So you apparently can't do that on a material thing. You can only do that on people. And I never did that until I started reading up on this stuff. You know, it's like, shit, so many things about religion and stuff that I never knew. Until I started looking into it. When you read different people and, you know, put all of their books together and all of their, you know, opinions together, then you get your own good idea of, you know, like with exorcisms, you know, that you can't, well, you can do an exorcism on a house, but it's not the same verbiage that's used on a person. It's not the same, so it's more like calling it, it's more like cleansing. But, yeah, Claire said she loved it here, despite the horrific times that there were. And I find that very hard to wrap my head around, because when it's bad, you don't even want to come back. It's like the renters that were here. They fucking leave and never look back. Leave everything. Lights on, you name it, just go. Unbelievable. That was about 10 years worth. A lot of those people, they don't want anything to do with it. They don't want to, you know, because this shit's all online. I mean, anybody that, you know, should be able to come across it sooner or later. You know, or look up the place where they used to live. You know, if people care anymore. I don't know. People move around so much. Where they used to live. So, no sense looking it up. They don't care. They don't care. But the people that they can find, you know, they hang up on you. They don't want nothing to do with it. so funny that they all are like the same. That they're like horrified, and it is horrifying. I was there once by myself, and I know. I mean, I wasn't horrified till I had made the decision. I think I should just leave instead of sleep over another. It'd be like tonight. And I had coffee all day, and I'm wired. It's fucking 2 a.m. or 1 a.m. on a Thursday morning when I was supposed to leave, or Wednesday morning when I was supposed to leave, whatever day it was. And I'm like, why should I just go lay down now? I'm wired. I'm wide awake. I can make this trip all the way home with as wired as I am. You know, driving by myself. Pouring rain out. It was horrible. Yeah, that makes it worse. And then when I made the decision, I'm just going to go. Boom, the house did its thing. And it was, I could feel it. It was just like horrifying just to be in there. And that wasn't my anxiety. That was, I was on pills, and I made a conscious decision, educated decision. I'm like, and that was the trip that I left a day earlier than I should have, and I didn't want my dog to be away from my dog X amount of time, and I'm like, I almost got everything packed already. I haven't got much more to pack. I think the rest is, just go, and then I can get home early. Yeah, I've done that. Maybe if there were other people around, it would have been easier to handle. But, I mean, it was pitch black out, pouring rain, lightning, thunder. I mean, it couldn't be any worse of a, what is it called, ambiance around you, just horrible. And got that new car, and I'm like, get in. I had the damn thing running, and I had the headlights facing towards the door, so I put the headlights on the right, like, walking out and stuff. Shit, you walk up to the car door, and you couldn't see 2 feet further down the car. It's black. It's very black out here. There's no stars, no nothing. It's very black out here. You can't see shit, And that makes it even more scary because it's like, what's up with this black shit? I didn't grow up that way. I grew up in, between Washington and Chicago, and the sky is always lit up from the nearby town. It's dim, but it's lit up. Yeah, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. You go outside. Yeah, it's dark, but it's not. Oh my God, it's like the same way. Up there, what here's my just God. I remember that when you guys and I went up there. I think I thought I had been up there before that. And I remember that the air was so much better than walking. I was like, why in the hell would anybody want to live over there? Jet fuel, cars. It's just horrible. But it's dark in Montana. It's black. You seeing bears or monsters or some shit. I don't know what it was. And I'm trying to get anybody else to even pay attention to what I'm saying. I'm like, can somebody help me look up there? Because she said, I don't want to get a little tent. Ain't going to do nothing. There's a freaking bear running around. Shit, you got to get in the truck. She might not even be safe in there. They can probably fuck the windows open. Yeah. I mean, if somebody sees something, we all got to look. They didn't act like they gave a shit. And I'm like, geez, you people. Not you. You were the reporter. So I wanted your brother and your dad to look. They act like they didn't give a shit. I got to get a soda. I don't know which door is open. The front door. Yeah, so this place is like gradually out. the ground with what they're praying at. So they're going to be, unless you have the rain, corrupted. It takes all your stuff. I know the whole idea. I gotta sell. No, I don't have it. I gotta sell my crap. I'm gonna have to sell my crap. There's no thinking about it. Duh. I know my mom had $50 and oh my gosh. So look for it. And she could have been on disability that whole time, getting checked from the government. But instead, she took a loan out on the house in the bank. She sold her stuff. I don't know if she sold her diamond ring, but all of her expensive coins are missing. I don't know if she gave those to the kids before she died. I don't know, but all I know is they're gone. So she took care of business before she died because she knew she was going to die. I told her, the doctor told me she had, what was it, 4 months to live. And I was living in Milwaukee. That's why I'm telling you. It's going to take forever to come. So you have to start calling now. Take a picture of your shit, store it how you want, put a price on it, get it on Facebook, whatever. I don't care what you sell on. Put it on everything. Put it on all your stuff. Whatever you can get it on. To get it sold. Get some money for it while you're here. Because you need money to live. That's that. There's no question about it. That's why I say all your stuff now. Because I don't know if they're going to. Because they're going to get ready up the knowledge of what stuff is worth after you die. And then all that work you did and all the money you spent now will just be wasted. If you kill it now, you'll at least be able to recoup some of that money that you spent and live. And you're giving to them while you're alive. Now, giving to them while you're alive, you're going to do that through what they think. And you're being able to survive. So, all this stuff should go to you guys have to go. I'm just an outsider that was straight up fucking zone between one and Chicago. I don't even look around. I thought I'd move closer to these spook people because they scare everybody. So if I'm closer to them, they get scared away. Such a beautiful day. I could lay out my lawn chair. One of those, lay down lawn chairs.
Yeah.
I brought one up when I was here by myself. It was in May. No, it was the beginning of June. Oh, it's beautiful. So many deer were in the yard. It was so cool. Yeah, they just had another event here not too long ago. That's probably why all those people come. Yeah, I guess the Claire was here. They had all kinds of parties in the backyard. Having people over. 20 or 30 people here. Like a birthday. They used to have a birthday cake. And I think they'd have 12 or 15 names put on it in the bakery to shake their heads. This is fucked up. Talk about being cheap. And have one birthday party in like July for everybody that has a birthday, summer, fall, whatever, around the same time. Do one. No, people I know, every fucking weekend is another fucking birthday party. I'm like, you could have two or Claire. And anyway, they had hot dogs. They had whatever. Grilling out, all the people coming and going. Roads come for miles and miles around. Friends coming over, everybody's coming and going. In and out of the house, gotta go to the bathroom. Oh my God. I'm not here for the hobby, I'm just here for the Clara story. One of the daughters had work, and that was the one who died of. I think she had angels or something. At the time, it was, way with the I don't know what the hell they were, but they're bad stuff. Everybody died, and she said, well, she should have just like this. And she died at like 36. The spot hit that car wreck, died. 45. Well, then he went to the service with left here, and then out of that, and dropped nuclear science or some shit. He's at a grocery store or something. I think he's just one of those parking spots or something outside after he's fucking stuff. And fell down. I don't know. They found something that indicated that the car wreck by that tree was with them the whole time. It was growing. They're not supposed to be there. Maybe it's catch it way back in the 70s. So the mother blamed the house for the son dying. She should blame the house for the daughter dying too. Because the house affected that daughter. Beth was affected a little bit too, where she was making it, she was taking over her age. And all of a sudden she was stopping. And she had this funny looking skin on her face. It wasn't her. It was family. When they changed the demeanor God only knows what. And that was, that was like, they didn't know what to think. Other than, they always that's about all they think. And then what are you going to do? Because people still, you're shocked by everybody else. Yeah, it took a toll on the family. There was another family. Somebody had said that it was Elizabeth. Similar. Same thing. There was a stress between the parents. And kids were having trouble. And they eventually moved out to actually before the rent. I just find that weird thing with another family. Very similar. Well, they needed those little rooms for all the kids.
True.
I don't like that the bedrooms upstairs are halfway attached to the master. I could see it if you had a baby or something, and then marry someone would be good for that. Or have it be a closet or something, because it's in another room. I didn't grow up with bedrooms and bedrooms and bedrooms, I didn't grow up, everybody has their own door, to a hallway or something, whatever. You didn't have to go in somebody else's room to go to your room. This is doing a Mickey crazy. What the fuck? I mean, how do you open that? Another ad in the paper. House for sale. Oh, it's a land contract. You can do whatever you want with the land. Build on it, whatever you want to do, but I own the land. You own everything. So that's half-ass ownership. That's not what I grew up with. They always own it. And that's a smart thing to do, because most people will quit and die, pay it off, and go back to the So, I don't think they involve the bank. I don't think they involve the bank. The bank. They own it forever. All of those questions. The only problem with that is that you can't find anybody to, quote unquote, buy into it, buy them. But Dan paid it off. Dan took the house off right away. So, yeah, he owns it, and they can't take the property. They can't do anything now that he owns it. But she still owns the, quote unquote, land, the mineral rights to the land, the oil fund on it. She gets that money, whatever. But they can do anything they want to, even though she owns it. But if there's money to be made from inside the land, that's what it boils down to. Because he bought her out. He made enough money where he was could pay off the bank or whatever to her in full. And she's off the hook with this property. Well, in the deal. I'm selling it again. But she still got the land, So, but you can do anything you want to do. And that is so hard to comprehend. Somebody else's land, how can you do whatever you want? I don't know. I don't understand. My dad moved down here. They bought the property. They bought the land. They bought a mobile home. They put it on. Well, first they lived in a mobile home park. They buy the mobile home in rent. Now it's a place that's right around the corner from us. There's a mobile home park down there. And they didn't want to pay that rent. That's just money going out the window. And then they found out that there was land for sale right on the corner there. And so they checked into that, found out how much, if there was any sites left, not left or whatever. I think what was for sale was 60 by 100. And I think wide side by 100 feet. They were all 100 panels. So I think he wanted, that he said that's way too small. So I think he got the guy to sell 150 feet to the length of the road. Well, wait, double? So 60 to 120, I think that'd be called double. And then that, whatever percent more, 31 feet. And all the mobile homes were backed into the land, and he didn't want it that way. He wanted the house to be laid parallel with the street. So it didn't look so trailer. He ended up leaving. After the land was up, the house was done being paid for. My mom had to see for that all the while. Try to raise jobs and work in the factory. God. Fucking horrible life. And she died at 50. I was 27. Like a lot of people lose their parents when they're kids, so young. I don't know.